and welcome to another One Take Wrap Up. As a preface, I don't know how it's showing up on camera, but if I've got like the red marks on my face, those are like bruises slash like a rash from my respirator at work. I don't know why last night my skin decided to just revolt against the respirator, like it's the big mask if you've seen nurses wearing that for COVID. Anyway, let's get into my one take wrap up. This is for October and November. I didn't do one in October because I read like 2.5 books and I was like, I'm not gonna make a whole video out of this. Come say hi, Love Bug. Love Bug's hanging out with me and she just wants to hear what books that I read. So if you hear any noises, it's her. But I read not very much in October, but I've kind of made up for it in November. It is currently the 30th, so I might read a little bit more today, but let's just go through what I read throughout the month. Starting in October, I finished The Score by Elle Kennedy. Really enjoyed this one. It probably wasn't my favorite in the series. I don't love like the player trope, you know, like where the guy is like a total player. It's not my favorite. But I did enjoy these characters and I enjoyed watching them like break through each other's walls. I will say the end of this one I feel like deserves a trigger warning. There is a death of a character, not one of the main characters, but it does like really heavily affect the male lead in this one. I don't remember his name, Dean, I think. And like he spirals like into a really deep depression and I wasn't really prepared for that plot entirely, so that was kind of hard to read, but it was a really good book overall. Next, I finished out that series. I read The Goal by Elle Kennedy, then there's still the novella, like bind up after, but The Goal I really loved. It has a surprise pregnancy trope, which we all know is my favorite, so I had a lot of fun with this one. I loved the characters. I think her name's Sabrina, or yeah, the female protagonist, her family, I hated them so much. They infuriated me, but they worked it out. It was okay in the end. I really loved the characters and I'm so happy she got her happy ending, and I'm happy for him too, but like she has worked her entire life. She had a really bad upbringing, and for her to like overcome all of that, I was just so proud of her. Next, I read Volume 2 of this Doctor Who comic called, it's the 11th Doctor, and this Volume 2 is called Serve You. I'm really enjoying this series. I really like the companion in this series with the 11th Doctor. She is a librarian. She just lost her mom, and the Doctor offers to like whisk her away and travel, but I really like her because she keeps insisting like, I need to go back and take care of things on Earth. I'm going through a lot. I can't just run away. I have to face my problems. And I feel like 9 times out of 10 when we have a companion on Doctor Who, they're okay with running away, which sometimes that's what you have to do, but I like that she kind of opposes him in that way, and it's just a lot of fun to read. There's also another companion that is a like a famous rock star in the like this fictional universe, so it's lots of fun. And I haven't been saying ratings, but so far all of these books have been 5 stars. Next, I read The Cracked Spine by Paige Selton. This is my first cozy mystery, and I have discovered all these years I have been missing out on cozy mysteries. Why didn't anyone tell me? I love them because one of my resolutions at the beginning of 2021 was I'm not going to try to read mysteries anymore because they always disappoint me and I like always just think they're really boring. The key here has been cozy mysteries, because in a regular adult fiction mystery, sometimes there's a magical element, or sometimes it's just really boring and I just or it's too scary and I just don't like it. Cozy mysteries is like watching Bones or Criminal Minds, that like comfort in knowing they're gonna solve it, they're all gonna be okay, and we move on to the next episode. That's exactly what this is. There is a mystery. None of these people are qualified though to solve these mysteries like they are in like crime TV shows, but they solve it, everyone's fine, and we just move on to the next book and we do it all over again. So I loved this one. This one takes place in Scotland. The sister of the owner of this bookshop, where the main character just got a job, the sister was murdered, and it was a really, really good book. I did not guess who the killer was going to be. It wasn't the most unique plot in this first one as to who the killer was. I feel like most people could have guessed it. But I'm terrible at guessing it. But it was really, really good. 5 stars. Loved it. Next, I read a novella called Snowed In with the Billionaire by Lila Monroe. Lovebug, could you chill? Could you chill out? It's okay. Just come sit with me and listen to my books. I don't think she's in frame, but she's too excited. Snowed In with the Billionaire by Lila Monroe. It was okay. I liked the premise. And I liked some of the scenes, but the characters didn't really feel very connected to me. They just didn't, I was never fully convinced that they were in love. Even though it is a novella, that is my fundamental, need from a romance book, is that I have to believe that they're in love. And I didn't fully feel that. So I think I gave this, I gave it a 4 stars, but it was like a 3-4 stars. Next, Christmas with the Billionaire by Lila Monroe was the other part of this novella bind up. This one I liked a little bit better. It was an actress who auditioned for a producer, and she ended up freaking out on him in the audition and then left, and then she was a waitress dressed up as an elf at a Christmas party, and he was at the Christmas party, and she was super embarrassed. Then they get stuck on the train together and snowed in, the train stop, and he offers to let her stay at his family home since there's no way to get back into the city. And it was that setting, that setup, made it really cute, because her having to interact with the family, them pretending to be boyfriend and girlfriend, it was just really, really good. I liked this one better, and it was very cute. Next, I read Heat of the Moment by Elle Kennedy. I hate to say it. You know I love Elle Kennedy. I have been raving about her for the last couple months, but this one was not for me. I don't know if this was an earlier work or what, but it was a novella. Was it steamy? Yes. It was a fun trope, but the 2 main characters just felt very flat, and then the conflict at the end was just so dumb in my opinion, so I didn't love it. I liked the idea of it. The execution wasn't great. So I gave it, I think, a 2 or 3 stars. I gave it a 3 stars, but it's probably more on the 2 side. I just always try to be generous on Goodreads. But yeah, it came out in 2008, so that might be why I didn't like it too much. Next, I'm just plowing through these. Okay, Mangoes and Mistletoe by Adriana Herrera. I have been so excited to read this for so long. I've been waiting for the library to get a copy, because last year, I don't remember if it was last Christmas or the last Christmas in July readathon that I saw going around, but everyone was raving about this book and how much fun it was and how cute it was, and we don't have a lot of lesbian Christmas romances. That's not something we see very often, and I will read more books by Adriana Herrera. I would like to try more books by her. But this one just wasn't for me. It was a little bit boring, and like I said earlier, you have to convince me the characters are in love. This one did not do that whatsoever, and frankly, I couldn't even tell you what the plot was at this point anymore. But I just felt like it was trying to do too much at once. The characters were hate to love, but also flirting with each other. They had a lot of conflict, but they had to work together. There was the baking contest, which I just feel like you had these 2 opposing stories, the baking contest and then also the relationship, and they clashed too much in this short amount of a book. Maybe if it had been a full-length novel, it might have been a little bit different, but it didn't work for me. I think I gave it a 3 stars. Yeah, it was a good idea, just didn't love it. Okay, next I read another Doctor Who book. I read Doctor Who: The Stone Rose by Jacqueline Rayner. I listened to the audiobook. I used to own a physical copy of this a long time ago, but I guess I don't have it anymore. I really, really liked this. The story was really interesting, and it's one that I kind of wish had the chance to be an episode. Though if this had been made like when it's the 10th Doctor and Rose story, when that was out, the animation of what is described would have been horrific to watch. But it is about the Doctor and Rose are in a museum with, what is his name? The boyfriend, Mickey, and her mom, and Rose's mom, and they find a statue that looks just like Rose from ancient Greece or ancient Rome, I don't remember. And they're like, oh, we should go find it, because obviously that means we go back in time and they make a statue of me, it'll be super fun. And so they go back in time, but they discover there's some weirdness going on, and it's actually this like wish-granting robot from, I think, like the 23rd century, and it's this like famous inventor from the 23rd century. He made this robot so as like a convenience thing, and I'll be honest, like, is this a technology very far away? Probably. Is it something dumb that humans would do? Yes. To make something where you could wish whatever you want, but then that backfires because you can wish yourself out of places you can't get out of, and like it could just destroy the entire world. It's a good plot. I really enjoyed it. So what happens is one of these machines end up in ancient Greece because the daughter of the inventor like offhandedly wished that she could see ancient Rome in real life, and it sent her back in time and she can't get back. So it was very interesting. The wish-granting robot was like such an interesting villain because it's a piece of technology it had some artificial intelligence, but it's truly just trying to help. And it just gets so twisted. So it was really, really interesting, and it was read by David Tennant, so that was super enjoyable. I don't know why my camera always insists on cutting me off mid-sentence. Anyway, it was read by David Tennant. I loved it. Next, I read one of the worst novellas I have ever read, and that is Office Hours, a student and professor story by Isla Chu. It's like 30 pages long, so I'm not crying that I spent 20 minutes reading it, but I'm not completely opposed to a student and professor story. I'm willing to give it a try as long as everyone is over the age of like 18, 19. But this one is why like a student professor trope would get such a bad rep, because the manipulation like and the questionable consent, the blackmailing, all of this fit into like 30 pages, mind you. So like it was gross. It was icky. I didn't like it. Please don't read it. I'm like, usually I can say, you know, if it's a trope you like, you know, just read what you like. But this one, it just feels so unsafe. I truly don't think anyone should read it. So that's that. I gave that a 1 star in case that's not clear. Which you know means I really didn't like it because I do not do 1 stars very often. Anyway, let's go to a good one. Next, I read Cappuccinos, Cupcakes, and a Corpse by Harper Lynn. This is the first in the Cape Bay Cafe mystery series, my next cozy mystery, and oh my god, I loved it. It was so good. Really, what have I been doing without cozy mysteries this entire time? This was a book about a girl who comes back to this small town, Cape Bay town, and she had lived in New York for like a decade working in, I don't know, something fancy, and comes back because her mom has passed away, and the cafe that's been in their family for like, you know, 50 years, she comes back to run it, and she's just trying to adjust to doing that and losing her mom, and then she's walking home one day and sees her neighbor sitting on the back porch and is like, is he okay? And like gets closer, and she calls the police because he's dead. So it's just so interesting. I loved it. I shouldn't be that excited about finding a dead body, but it was a really, really good book. And so the guy who died is the father of one of her friends from high school, Matt, and who she calls Maddie, which just reminds me of 13 going on 30, which already is like 10 bonus points for this series. And actually his full name is Mateo, but anyway, so he has to deal with the fact that he's just lost a parent, and now they're coming to terms with it might not have been like natural causes. So they start investigating, amateur investigators, and I loved it. I love this. I love their little romance. Not that it's a main portion of the story by any means, and I just love the way that Harper Lynn writes. I adore the way she writes. So next, I read Women of Resistance, Poems for a New Feminism by Danielle Barnhart, and it was okay. There are some poems in here that I liked. There were some that I just felt really pretentious to me. I think that's often my problem with like newer age poetry. Honestly, any poetry, because everyone's always trying so hard to like sound really pretty, and I get that, but it just wasn't entirely for me. I think I gave it a 3 stars. I gave the Kate Bay one 5 stars. Next, I read the next Kate Bay book, and that is Tea, Tiramisu, and Tough Guys. Really enjoyed this one as well. This was an interesting mystery where a dead body was found in the parking lot of the gym in the town, and the owner of the gym is the guy, like the super popular football quarterback guy that everyone had a crush on in high school, including the main character. And so the dynamic of like her friend Matt, like being kind of jealous, like you can't, like he's probably the killer, like stop saying he's not, because he was the main suspect, just because he was jealous that she liked him in high school. It was a cute little fun thing, and I again would have never guessed the killer. There was a moment where I was like, oh, that guy's suspicious, and then it was that person in the end, but like I am usually a terrible guesser, so I had lots of fun. Next, I read the 3rd book in the series, and that is Margaritas, Marzipan, and Murder. Another really fun one, which this one was a random like tourist was killed in an alley, and she decides to start investigating because the police ruled it a suicide, but she's like, why would he go into the souvenir shop and buy a whole bag of souvenirs if he was gonna go outside and kill himself? He probably wouldn't do that. It's a murder. And so she begins investigating again and basically solves it all before the police ever could, and it's just so much fun, and I really love these books. Next, both 5 stars, by the way, I read Of Books and Bagpipes by Paige Shelton. That is the 2nd book in the Scottish Bookshop mystery series. I did like this one quite a lot as well. I don't think I liked it as much as the first one. The mystery wasn't as interesting to me, but I really love the characters and their dynamic here, and just the way that she paints the setting is just so engrossing. I really enjoyed it. It took me a while to read because I was listening to it on audiobook and like wasn't feeling like listening to audiobooks, but I really enjoyed it in the end. Still gave it 5 stars. Okay, I'm getting there. I'm almost done. Next, I read Some Things I Still Can't Tell You by Misha Collins. I actually have it sitting right here. I will probably reread it again. 5 out of 5 stars. It's Misha Collins. I love him. The way he expressed his emotions in here just reminded me of like why I have been a fan of him for so long. It's not just because he's Castiel, you know. Do I love Castiel? Yes. But like him as a person, he just seems truly so genuine and so incredible, and I love everything that he does with his charity work and just being an overall great human being. And it was really heartbreaking to read about him dealing with part of him falling out of love with his wife but still loving his wife because they'd been together for like over 3 decades. They've been together for a long time, and they have 3 children. I think it's just Mason and West. Like they have children together, and it was beautiful. There are a lot of poems that I will be rereading in there, and what I liked about this one is maybe it's just because I feel like I know Misha Collins' voice so well, nothing felt like it was trying too hard, because it just felt like I was just listening to him talk. So I really enjoyed it. 5 stars, obviously. Next, I read Hold Me Close, which is a novella by Iris Morland. This was a Christmas romance. I really like Iris Morland. I read a book by her last year, maybe 2 of them, I don't remember. And she's just a really fun writer. This was a lot of fun. This was a girl got stuck in a snowstorm on the side of the highway, and this small town police officer that works there stopped to help her and was like, "You're not going to get through the storm right now, just come back to my cabin that's a mile away and we'll wait out the storm and you can leave in the morning." And it was quite the night, so I really enjoyed it. There was a lot of plot twists that I didn't expect in the end. It packed a lot for only being a 2-hour novella or something, so I really enjoyed it. 5 stars. Next, I read Ranter by Elle Christensen. This was a Read Me Romance podcast book. And I did really like it. It was a hockey romance, so I'm interested in reading the other books in this series and not just this little novella in the middle. It was a second chance romance, which isn't always my favorite trope, but I did really enjoy this one. And just watching the guy being the one so obviously pining for the girl, I feel like a lot of the times it's the other way around, so that was really fun to read. So I do think I give it a 5 stars, maybe a 4 stars. Yeah, 4. So okay, we're almost done. Nicholas St. North in the Battle of the Nightmare King by William Joyce. I listened to this audiobook at work the other night and I really liked it. It is not quite what I expected, but it is the book that the movie Rise of the Guardians is based off of, I believe. I never actually fact-checked that information, so I could be totally making that up, but I'm pretty sure that's the truth. It's very, very different from the movie from what I remember, but it's not like Jack Frost, but it is the origin story of Santa Claus in this universe, and it was just a really fun story. It was full of lots of magic and adventure and high stakes fantasy. I will say it wasn't as Christmassy as I wanted it to be, but I did overall really enjoy it, and I think I gave it a 4 stars, 3 stars, close enough. Next, Barbarian Mind by Ruby Dixon is the 4th book in the Ice Planet Barbarian series. I did really, really enjoy this one. It might be my favorite so far, even though the beginning did heavily rely on the miscommunication? No. Language barrier trope. I don't like the language barrier trope. I just don't get it. If you guys can't talk to each other, you cannot make me believe that you love each other. See, we're here. It's very, talking is very important to me. So I don't like the language barrier trope. But there is a time jump a little bit into this book, 40% in, a year later, and then they can talk to each other. And that part of the story, I adored. I loved the way they communicated. I loved their relationship. I loved seeing their interactions with the tribe, because this is actually the first one set on the beach setting versus the caves. So I did really enjoy it. I am hoping to pick up the next one fairly soon, but it was a longer audiobook and I didn't feel like committing to it yet. Lastly, of the books I finished in December, there's a couple I'm reading right now and I might finish today, but we'll just stop here. I read The Land Christmas Forgot by David Pearce. I really, really enjoyed this. This was the more Christmassy feeling that I was going for when I read the other one. This is about a little boy who tells his younger brother that Santa Claus doesn't exist, and he finds himself magically transported to the land Christmas Forgot, which is basically run by Krampus, which is the evil Santa Claus thingy, who was actually kind of scary for a children's book. And there's all these people here that are sort of shunned by Christmas, and there's you've met a couple elves that helped him, that were the secret agents for Santa that were working in this land, and they're oh, you can't get out of here, you're stuck here. He's but I need to get home to my brother, I need to say I'm sorry. And he met Krampus and he met the Santa Claus. He also met like Father Time. There was a reindeer. It was a lot of fun. I really, really enjoyed it. It was very magical and Christmassy, and I think if you like children's books and you like Christmas, you would really like this book. And there's actually only 15 ratings on it on Goodreads, so it's apparently not super well known, so I think you should read it. I really enjoyed it. So that's all I read in October and November. Let's count how many that was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I can't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I think 22, I'm gonna be honest, it's hard to count when my screen's moving. But the fact that I did like 3 of those in October and all the others in November, I'm hoping this means my reading slump is gone. I still am predominantly consuming ebooks and audiobooks. When I feel up to it more, I will get back to physical reading, but I'm just happy that I'm reading, and I think I'm going to make my Goodreads goal now. So I'm at 92 out of 100, so I only have 8 books left. I'm currently reading like 3 books, so yay, I'm excited. That is my wrap up. I hope you enjoyed. I have some really fun Vlogmas content coming up, and I can't wait for you to see it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Tell me what you read in the month of November. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.